Well, hello. Hello, Huladunya.
Hello.
Hello. Kimraha, Shiv. Kimraha, Huladunya.
Hami, how do you say full of dinner?
Oh, Lon Junior. Lon.
On dinner.
Lon Hinyer. Lon Hinyer.
What re pizza.
Oh, pizza. Pizza. Okay, ja, clever. Clever. Ja. Uh, Ich me pie kirka. Pie kirka.
Oh,
Chicken.
Yeah,
chicken
chicken pot
pie.
pie. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
pie kirka. Yeah. So, anyway, well, Costco. Well, Costco. You pie kirka, well, Costco.
Oh, that's the best chicken pot pie. Yeah.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
had that last week.
Ah, that, Kamera Usa D.
Hami Vinachma. Dang, can you hear me again? You can't
Huh?
hear me? Can you hear me?
We can
Jay?
hear you, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Minachma.
Me and Akma. Okay. All right. Okay, we'll play that. Okay. Question the Sharna of Donna. That's better than being bad. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's labor. Yeah. I guess Tim, Kamera Usa.
Vami Bronak Hama Fridge Brista.
Oh, I don't.
And they can't come, they have to get the part and come tomorrow for the refrigerator.
Oh, here now. Okay.
At least they think they can fix it. I don't think it's what he thinks it is, but hey.
Yeah. Well, nowadays, many things can't be fixed.
Yeah,
they
he
don't.
thinks it can.
Huh?
He thinks the repairman thinks he can.
Oh, okay. He can. Okay, that's good.
Uh-huh.
I shouldn't.
Because it's only 7 years old, so it's not very old.
Okay. Yeah. Well. Yeah.
Had to wait for him.
Many years ago, I had a dryer that broke down, and so I got a guy out, and he fixed it, and then just a few months later, it broke again, and I realized that the bill for the repair, I could have bought a new fridge.
That's the thing, yeah.
I mean, a new washer, a new dryer.
Oh, because a new refrigerator is expensive. It's only supposed to be like $300 with the labor, so that's not bad.
Okay. Yeah.
Tell you next week.
Okay. Okay. I guess Heather, Kimrahu.
Gleba.
Okay. How many Tolocha?
Yeah, Hami Tolishcha.
Yeah.
And you.
Tolocha. Okay. Does anybody have any questions or anything like that? Get us started. Questions or items? No?
The previous lecture, is that going to be uploaded to the YouTube?
I'm sorry?
The previous lecture, is that going to be uploaded to the YouTube?
Yes, it should be. I'll double check that. I'll make a note, and if I neglected to put it up, I will do so. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, so that'll be week 21. Video, YouTube. Okay, good. Okay. Yeah, I will make sure that's taken care of. And either way, I'll get back to you and let you know whether it's up there or whether I just put it up. Well, it will be up when I contact you, one way or another. Okay. All right, Leva. Tablet. I guess, okay. Okay. All right. Let's see what we've got. Okay. All right. Gael talk. Okay. Rianaga plus Fikitsaga. agus an cynnyde hí cheannachach Màiri Bànrigh an Albannach an Oak of Lal and Yengeran 1587. Okay, so in memory of the beheading, Dí Cheannach Màiri Bànrigh an Albannach, Mary Queen of Scots. Okay. Okay. So I just noticed we had the anniversary earlier this month, and so I thought, oh, okay, well, we'll do that. And if you've seen the Sgeulachd, I have a little presentation for us. I also posted a couple. I don't know if I got the presentation up in time, but it'll be in the follow-up lesson that I send out, and of course I'll show it to you today. And as well, there are a couple videos on Mary. So anyway, so all right, and the Zoom link and all that. Okay, Tleva. Okay, so Clàr na Sheachna, the schedule for the week. Fàilte, of course, Shenach na Sheachna, Gràmar na Sheachna. And so now we'll take a look at adjectives, okay, with masculine and feminine nouns. And Sgeulachd na Sheachna, Màiri Bànrigh an Albannach. Okay, and Òran na Sheachna, Griogal Cridhe. Okay, dear Griogal, dear Gregor, and Obair and Notaichean. Okay, so Fàilte, Silanam Fulikin a how on you. Earlier today, it was Lanam Fulikin, Pancake Day. Okay, okay. August, not to be confused with Lanam Fulikin.
That's what I thought first.
Yeah.
Seagulls.
Lanam, and they sound very much alike. Okay, but they are different.
Big difference.
Day of Pancake Day versus Seagull Day. Okay. Now be Seachdaine Fulikin on Sgeulachd. Okay, so did you have pancakes today or Fulikin? Okay. Okay. So I hope you had pancakes to eat and not seagulls. Oh, all right. Okay. Okay. Shenach na Sheachna. Obair dan a chroich, a Sgeulachd a Bànrigh. Okay. The one or the man for whom the fate is to hang or hanging. He will never drown. Okay, so so the man whose fate is the gallows will never be drowned. Okay. All right, okay. And that is an actual proverb. Okay. And and a note I have is Gaelic sayings are practical, unsugared, and shapes by lives at close to risk. See weather, hardship, and conflict. Okay. And an attitude of accepting what cannot be controlled. Okay. Now, it doesn't say the person deserves the gallows or deserves to be hanged. Okay. But it's not, as in kind of American point of view, good things happen to good people, bad people get what they deserve. That's not the Scottish experience or the Gaelic experience. In the Gaelic experience of Scottish history, many times, unfortunately, good people suffer and bad people get away with it. So anyway, so if one's fate is for one thing or another, that doesn't mean they deserve it. Okay, it just what happens. Okay, all right, and then language notes: don do or done. Okay, fate for. Okay. Mahai on Don Dovari, if it is Mary's fate, if it is the fate for Mary. Okay. Mahai and Don Dovari. Okay. Achroich the gallows. Dhachaidh. One of the ways to express the passive voice, to be actually to be drowned. I don't know why I put hang. I just got hanging on my head. Okay, will not go drowning. Okay, and you'll see, and when we get to it, we have the passive voice. Well, one of the ways to express the passive is to use the verb to go. Chaidh is the future tense of go. So will not go Obair. So will not go his drowning. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. And that's a little preview of things to come. Anyway. So now we're going to look at more and beck. So this will give us a pattern that we can follow as time goes on. And we're just going to simplify it. We're, not talk about all the adjectives, okay? Just two, more and beck, big and little, okay? Just really simplifying it, okay? And from this, we can see a pattern. So, for masculine noun, more and other adjectives remain the same. Okay, and this is in the dative and the prepositional and the accusative, the normal form. Okay, sometimes called the nominative. Nominative. Okay, and I wish these names were something a little bit more understandable. Because I'm not quite sure where the accusative and the nominative come from, or even the dative. Okay. I prefer, and I often use this, the title, the prepositional, because in Gaelic, that's primarily, almost only where we see it. So I prefer the prepositional as the form, and I actually prefer normal or root form of the noun. Okay, so I primarily use those. Okay, right. Okay. So anyway, trickier news: feminine nouns, more, and other adjectives, more. Well, I'll say, and beck, more, and beck stay the same for masculine. For feminine, they change. Okay, they change. Right. All right. So, and here's a glossary for some nouns that we'll be using in the lesson. Okay. Okay. Tie, bata, board, coup, balach, cut. Those are all masculine. And then boo, caher, kalak, chalyak, and ben. Okay, these are feminine. Okay, all right. So, more and beck with masculine and feminine nouns. Okay, all right. So, with masculine singular nouns, we're just talking about the singular noun. Okay, the adjective does not change. So that's good. Okay, that makes it easy, and that's in the normal or the root form and the prepositional form. The masculine does not change. And so if you can work your way through Gaelic and never use a feminine noun, then you never have to worry about the adjective changing, at least in these two cases. All right. So anyway, after the accusative or the root, more and beck, and after the prepositional, that is after the preposition, more and beck. Okay, so on tie more, on bat the beck, the small boat, the big house. Bounce on tie more, in the big house. Add about the beck, on the small boat. Okay. And a couple other examples. Ha an kumor arui. The big dog is running. Ha an balak bek akoshik. The small boy is walking. All right. Okay. So there we go. That's easy. Okay. And so we can actually just stop there and go, okay, well, that's good. We've learned that lesson. I'll see you next week. But we've got a couple other things. All right. Anyway, feminine nouns. Okay. The accusative, that is the root. We'll say the root. Okay. Let me pause here for a second. And let me just ask you, I just kind of asserted something, but let me ask you, what makes more sense to you to call the noun in its root form? Do you like accusative, nominative, root, or normal?
I like root.
You like root? Okay. Lisa?
I like root.
Root, okay. Tim?
Root.
Root?
But when we learned Spanish, we had the other names,
Oh,
accusative and the dative.
Oh, okay, yeah. And D, what's your favorite? What's your pick?
I'm honestly okay with any.
I'm sorry?
I'm okay with any.
You're okay with any? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Well, maybe we'll call it root. Okay. Yeah. And again, that's the form that you'll find in the dictionary when you look the word up. Okay. Okay. Gleva. Okay. Well, good. Good. Okay. So we settled that. Oh, not quite. And what do you like for the form that comes after a preposition? So far we have dative or prepositional.
Prepositional, I think.
Prepositional. D. Yep, you like that, Lisa?
Yes.
That makes
I
more
like that.
sense.
Yes.
Okay. Tim,
Yeah.
you like that? Okay, very good. Okay, so that's a terminology that we'll use. And actually asking that question of you makes things easy because I don't have to say, give, four words to describe it. Root, nominative, accusative, like that. Okay, so, okay, all right. Very good, very good. Okay. From henceforth, they'll be known as root and prepositional. Okay, Lebo. All right, so, all right, so, feminine nouns. Okay, so now we go to the feminine nouns. Okay, so, and there's one shift in the root form. Okay, and that's we'll unite it. More becomes vor, beck becomes vec. So acolic vor, acolic vec. Avu vor, achaher vec. The small chair or the big shop of vor. Okay. Oh, gamalishkum. Examples. Ha akalik vor arui. The big girl is running. Akalik vor. Ha akalik vek of abrian. The little girl is speaking. Okay. So we insert, I should say we insert an H after the first letter, we unite. Okay. More becomes vor, beck becomes vec. All right. Okay. So that's in the root form. Okay. In the prepositional form, after a preposition, there are two changes. So you have to remember two changes. We still unite and we slenderize. The word becomes slender. And that's often shown by some sort of I insertion or a spelling change. More often an I insertion, but that can vary a little bit. And I'll show you. Okay. And remember, right now, we're trying to establish a pattern. So we're just dealing with two, two adjectives. So here's what we mean. The feminine prepositional. Okay. More becomes vorth. Okay. So note we still lenite, but now we slenderize. We add the I at the end, vorth. Okay. So we have a little lenition. And sometimes if we have a combination that cannot easily accommodate the I insertion, we do something else. In case of Beck, that becomes Vic. And so we have the let's go here, okay? We have the lenition and we have the slenderization, and the EA becomes I. Okay, the EA becomes I. Okay, Vic. Okay, so we have Vic. Okay, because one thing that you can think about is Vic is not really possible. Okay, so that's not really possible, and so we just substitute. We insert the I, but then drop the EA. Okay.
Question.
Yes.
When you slenderize vor,
Uh-huh.
does it sound the same or different when you slenderize it? When you say,
Sounds a little bit different.
okay.
Okay, so what it is you might not have heard it.
A smile at the end?
Yeah.
Boy.
Vorth. Yeah, vorth. And it's almost like a very light touch with the TH. Vorth. Vorth. Okay.
Oh.
Vorth. Yeah. Yeah. Very light touch with the TH. Okay.
Okay, thank you. I did not hear that through the Zoom.
Yeah. And one of the ways that you can hear it, okay, so a little note, something like Màiri.
Okay.
Okay. The pronunciation is pronounced something like, okay, Mar, just a little teeny th, Màiri.
Okay.
Màiri.
Just
Okay.
a tap, not a full-on th.
Yeah,
like
yeah, not just a tap, just a tap, just a
Okay.
very teeny weeny tap, and you might not even hear it, and English speakers don't hear it.
Okay.
So one of the first ways that I learned this was air. Okay, it's not air. Okay,
Uh-huh.
and when I first heard it, I thought I was hearing a tap, air, something like that. But it's really air. Okay, so it's pronounced something like air. Okay, something like that, air. Okay, and if I could superscript that font, give this a superscript. Yeah, like that. You can think of it like that.
Okay.
Just a very teeny weeny th. You see, and you can hardly hear it. Gaelic speakers do hear it. Okay, but the sound does not exist in English. Okay. Anyway, yeah. So vorth. Okay. Flavor.
Okay.
Sgeulachd. Okay. Good question. Okay. So. So here we have some examples. Ounce of vorth in the big shop. Ounce of Vic in the small shop. Accusative vorth on the big chair. Accusative Vic on the small chair. Okay. All right. So we have the lenition and the slenderization. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay, so the notes are the more slender form shows the I insertion, and the beck slender form changes the spelling. It's really an I insertion, but it's but it looks like a substitution. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So that's your your root and your prepositional adjectives. Okay. So as we go forward, we'll deal with other adjectives, but I just keep the two right here to keep it really, 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 really simple. Okay. 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 And then and you can remember these examples. Okay. I mean, so Ambalik beck, Ambalik more. Ek, avalik beck, ek, avalik more. Okay. So that's no changes. Okay. So, and I can put those down here. Okay. Ambalik more. Ambalik beck. Ek, avalik more. Ek, avalik beck. Or achalik beck. Achalik vor. Okay, vor. Okay. Well, not vet, but vec. Okay. Or ek, something like maybe belonging to at the little girl, ek achalik. Ek oh, I've got to tell you something else. No, I think I talked about this. Ekekalik, Vic, Kalik, Vor. Okay, okay, belonging to or at the big girl at the little girl. Okay, okay. Do you remember me talking about that, slenderizing the noun and the prepositional for the feminine?
No.
You don't? Okay. I think I did, but I'll come back to it. Okay. So just generally speaking, in the prepositional, just a reminder. Okay. Reminder. And I can come back to it and remind you more of it next week. I don't have anything prepared tonight, but reminder, feminine nouns slenderized in the preposition. Okay. So the noun is slenderized as well. That is, like right here, we have the EA changing to an EA. All right. Okay. 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 And I think I talked about that when we were dealing with the with the definite article. But I'll come back to that next week, and I'll have a little refresher. Okay, and and I want to tell you that so if it's any consolation, you aren't missing out on anything if you don't get this right away, because it is complicated. There's say totally unlike English, of course, in which we have one the. Okay. In Gaelic, like I said, there's something like 60 different combinations of the in the noun. So, so it's a little difficult, so I'll concede that it is a little difficult. And we will have refreshers on this. And then also, and I'll just add that as you go forward, I mean, so now that we've, we're going over some of these rules, as you go forward, I do expect or I anticipate that you will be noticing stuff. Okay. You might not have noticed it before, but now that we've gone over it, as we deal with Gaelic text, you'll notice some of these things. Okay. So anyway, so that'll help enforce it as well. Okay. Okay. So, yeah. Okay. So this is what we have. And, okay. So, reminder of the gender of the nouns: antai, ounce antai, antai, bata, ambata, ounce avata, bort, ambort, edvort. Okay, ku, on the ku, on the dog, balak, and cat. Okay, feminine nouns. Oh no, boo's not feminine. What are we talking about? Is that right? No, boo. No, boo is feminine. There you go. That always confuses me. Okay. Now, why would I be confused by that, by boo? Why would I think it's masculine?
It's a broad vowel.
Yeah, it's a broad vowel. It doesn't have any of the obvious tells of a feminine noun. Okay. But it is. Okay. Anyway. Yeah. Okay. A cahill, a chair, colic, a girl, kayak, ekakayak. Okay. Ben. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. And then remember, sometimes um, um, we might see grammatical exercises that don't make any sense in the real world, but they can be constructed in grammar. Okay. So anyway, so ounce of ort, in the table, or ounce of who, in the dog. Unless you're talking about the dog eating your homework, you wouldn't probably wouldn't say it's in the dog. Okay, so we can construct these things grammatically, though if we see something like that, don't get disturbed. Sometimes grammatically we can construct these things, but even though they might not make much sense in the real world. Okay, so just a little side note. Okay, so here we have some exercises. Build the noun phrase. So we want more or beck or vor or vec, vorth or vic. Okay, so untie,
More.
more. Ambata,
Beck.
beck, yeah, okay.
Beck, yes.
Yeah, and so remember, we only have a choice between big and little. Okay? Just trying to simplify this, and so it doesn't really matter which one you do. Either one is correct. Okay, in terms of sense. Okay, so what we're looking for is the grammatical form. Okay, just to get a feel for the grammatical form. Okay, so achalic,
Vec.
vec,
Because
Yeah.
feminine.
Yeah, it's feminine, so it'd be vec. Okay, with the V. Okay, avu,
Four.
Vor.
Or
vor, ounce on tie,
More.
more. Yeah, eravata,
Beck.
Beck.
beck or more. Yeah, either one. Okay, ounce of oo,
Vic.
or
vic.
Or.
Yeah, vic or vor. Yeah. Okay. So don't be fooled like I am all the time. That's a feminine noun. Okay. Or a caher on the chair.
Vic.
Four.
Vic. Yeah. Okay.
Or vor.
Yeah. Like Goldilocks in the little chair. Okay. Or on the little chair. Okay. So Um, okay, so avu vec. So we want to say ounce avu
Vic.
vic. Yeah. You see, so we have the root form in A, and we have the prepositional form in B. So a chaher vor or the chaher
More.
Fourth.
vorth. Yeah,
Fourth.
yeah, that very difficult IR. Okay. Anti beck or ounce anti
Beck.
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 Bata more or the vata
Four.
more. Yeah, flavor. And back to what we were talking about just a little earlier, the pronunciation of the IR here. Maybe you can hear it better when I say earth. But can you hear that little tongue tap there, earth?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, earth, yeah.
Earth.
Okay, flavor. Okay. All right, okay. And then, of course, all of these forms work with the verbal noun. Okay, so, so you can construct your own sentences. So ha and cat beck, a cattle, cat being masculine. I know in English I very often think of cats as being feminine, but in Gaelic, but in Gaelic what the archetypal cat is, or the gender of cat is masculine. Gaelic vor a downsa. Okay, so what would you say about a dog? Ha
Ha anku arui.
Orui, Han Ku, what? What kind of ku?
Oh, ha anku more.
Yeah, very good. Han Ku more Orui. Yeah, okay, yeah, good. Okay, yeah, so I'll leave these for you to do. Okay. Because on your own this coming week you can go through these and practice the form. And and then remember that we really learn them when we practice them. I mean, so it's very, so I trust that all of you are paying attention now. You're not checking your Facebook page while we're going through the lesson, but we really learn it, really embedded in our memories when we practice them. So, that's why I provide all these exercises. And so the next exercise would be to add a place phrase. Okay. So, ha an ku more orui, like Heather said, ounce and tie beck. Okay, so we want to add a prepositional phrase. Achalik vek asuya achahervord. Achahervord. Okay, sitting on the big chair. Okay, achalik vek. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. And then here again, we come to fill in the correct form. And so, use only more than beck. Okay. So untie
Anti more.
More.
more,
Or beck.
abort,
On borscht.
masculine,
Beck.
Beck.
beck, abata,
More.
more. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, don't get bored, or if you do get bored, I mean, I can't tell you not to get bored, but if you do get bored with this, and think these are all the same. Well, that's kind of the point. The point is, just do it again and again and again and embed it in our muscle memory. Okay. All right. Okay. And then you have a bunch of those, and then we have circle the correct one. Is it a vu vor or a vu more?
A vu vor.
A vu vor. Would it be ounce of vu vorth or ounce of vu vor?
Ounce of
More.
vu
Vor.
vor.
First one.
Yeah, the first one. Yeah, okay. The one that's hard to say. Okay.
Yeah.
Acolic vec or acolic beck?
Vic.
Beck.
Vec.
Vec.
Yeah, very good. Acolic vic or acolic vec?
Vic.
Ecolic
Vic. Yeah, yeah. First one, you have vec or vic. I'm sorry, you have vic. Yeah. Okay, flavor. So you have, that kind of recognition. Okay. And then you can make your own sentences with only the subject. Okay. Right. Okay. And with a verbal noun. So it goes back to this. Ha acolic vor orui. You can do something like that. Okay. And then add a prepositional phrase. Ha aven vec, a koshik ounce vuvor. Okay, so the little woman is walking in the big store. Okay, yeah, so you can put these together. All right. Okay. Okay. All right. So that's our lesson. That's our grammar lesson. Grammar Neshekina, along with a bunch of exercises. Okay. Any questions? Any questions? And let me make a note. I'll make another note. We'll have a review before we go on to the next part. Next week, we'll review the feminine prep form. Okay, so we'll review that. Okay, because that is a little tricky. All right, so we'll review that. Okay. Okay. All right. So let's pause for a second. Okay. So any questions? Any questions so far? No? Okay, good.
That was very helpful. That was very
Well,
straightforward.
I'm glad. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad. Okay, yeah. And again, don't don't feel discouraged or confounded if it's a little difficult, because it's a little difficult. It's very complicated. Very complicated, somewhat complicated, something like that. Something like that. Okay. But yeah. But that's why, practice, of course, will help, going through the exercises. But also, as we go through these, we'll see this occurring and you'll recognize it in our reading. So that's important too. You go, oh, okay, so I know why, colic changed to colic, and so on and so forth. Okay. All right. Flavor. All right. Okay. All right. So let's do something a little bit different. I've got, okay. Okay. So I did post I posted links to a couple YouTube videos about Mary, Queen of Scots. But I also made a presentation for us that I don't know if it covers the same thing or if it covers something different, but but it was my offering. But it's my offering. So anyway, so we'll do that. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So I trust you can see my screen now, right?
Yes.
Màiri Stuart, Bànrigh Nahalapa. Okay. Mary Stuart, Queen of Scotland. Bea, politics, agus Sgeulachd. Okay. Life, politics, and legacy. Okay. Bea, politics, agus Sgeulachd. Okay. All right. All right. And here's a map of Europe at the time. Roin Yorpa, Alpa, Sasin, and Rank. Okay, so of course there's other countries involved. Okay, well, not involved, but in Europe at the time. But I highlight these countries because these are the countries that play into the life, for the most part, of Mary. Okay, so Alpa, Sasin, and Anrank. and also gives us kind of a visual representation of where they are in relationship to each other. Right? Okay. And just as one other preface, England, Sassin, and on rank, England and France at this time had long been rivals, and in fact, were at war through the mid 1800s. I mean, hundreds of years. England and France had been at war. Okay, off and on, not constantly, but off and on, and very often Scotland was allied with France. Scotland had an affinity for France. They had some sort of ongoing relationship, ongoing friendship. All right. So anyway, so that's how those things play out. All right. So Tushkamach, let's begin. All right. So Bre agus Oika. Okay. Birth and youth. Rukikianan Alapa, she was born in Scotland. Ochafla Dúlach, 1542. The 8th day of December, 1542. Nian Seamus Coig, Rianan Albannach, daughter of James V, King of Scotland. Rukikianan Alapa, she was born in Scotland. And, so now, of course, so I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to be reading the Gaelic, and then you can either follow along or, so I'll translate. You also have the translation on the right. Okay. All right. Okay. Chuacho Ahahir, Seamus Coig, Gudich Asje Shin. So her father, James V, died shortly after that. And note the special word we have for dying, chuacho, he died. Okay, so there's a couple other words for die. The kind of the root word is basi. Okay, but for the most part, people don't basi, animals basi. Okay, chuacho has a root meaning of to change, and you might think of it as kind of the Gaelic form of to pass away. It's a little softer. Okay. Anyway, so look really Asturich Naducha. Okay. Regents, those are people who stand in for the child queen. Guided the country. Okay. Look really. The Kunnisht Koki agus politics Cruy. Kunnisht danger, Koki war, and politics, Cruy, cruel politics, a Bacher, threatened Scotland in those days, the lion's shin. Okay. Jan Rank. Gusavi Salvacha, Màiri a chur Jan Rank. To be safe, to keep her safe, Mary was sent to France. Màiri a chur Jan Rank. Okay, she was sent to France. Gasi Suis, Galmalisco. Oh, Galmalisco. I have a little frog in my throat. Okay. Gasi Suis an cursed real na Franca. She grew up, Gasi Suis, on an cursed real in na Franca. Okay. She grew up in the royal court of France. Vaigamach Folamacha, her son Anlina. She was well educated for the age. Yunsiki Kanin Kyo Agasmol. She learned languages, music, and court manners. Okay? So she's very well brought up. She's a well-educated young lady. Bànrigh Màiri, the four Marys, Colaria with her, Colaria, Echakirst at court, and an dachaidh out on rank is on Alapa, and both in France and Scotland. So these are her famous four, I don't know what you call them, handmaids, no, ladies in waiting. That's what they called them. Not a handmaiden. That's from a different age, and that means something slightly different, I think. But a lady in waiting. Those are the women who would be about Mary's age, and they were her companions, her friends, her assistants. Okay, all right, okay. And here's a phrase on da hooch, both. On da hooch, on rank, is on an alpa, both in France and in Scotland. Okay. By Sgeulachd Catholic, she was strongly Catholic. Okay, by Sgeulachd, strongly. Okay, Catholic, strongly Catholic. Foci, Francis Aga. Okay, so she married Francis II. Okay, but Posic mar inyo politica. Okay, the the marriage was a political union, a political device. Inyo means machinery. Okay. Agus vai na Bànrigh na Franca an unia corage. So she was queen, the Bànrigh, the Franca of France for a short time. And then Coco Francis, everybody's dying on her. And in 1560, Màiri na Bànrigh Og. Okay, Mary was Bànrigh. Okay, widow, Bànrigh. Okay, cool. She was a young widow. Okay, all right. Okay. Hiligo Alapa, she returned to Scotland. So here she is, and wasn't a happy return. Va Alapa ar Haharaka. Protestanach Lacher. Protestantism was strong. So this was in the middle of, I'm tempted to say, a century, or, in the middle of a couple centuries of political strife, not only in Britain, but in all of Europe. I mean, at this time, in all of Europe, there are massive sectarian wars between Protestants and Catholics. And in a lot of ways, it was really terrible. There are massacres on both sides. Both suffered and both inflicted great hurt to those they perceived to be on the other side. And so remember, she was Catholic, and she'd been raised in a very staunchly Catholic France. In fact, I think France is still, to the extent that it's religious, is still predominantly Catholic. Okay, but Scotland had become predominantly Protestant, though there were still Catholics in Scotland, and especially up in the Highlands. Okay. Do I have that? Oh, here's a repeat. Okay. Valkhurst Echa Lán J. Strí Politigech is Craitchef. Okay. Phil, the court was the royal court we're talking about, was full of strife that was political and religious. Vastri more on an aun, there was great strife at an adunia uzel, etc. Iet is Màiri. So there's strife between the nobles themselves and between them and Mary. And vagach machandunia. So this is a great little phrase, machandunia, every one of them, every son of a man. Okay. Acha agiri vinari. Agiriavinari, okay, to wanted to be king. Okay. Each one of them wanted to be king. She tried to create tolerance and keep the peace. Okay. Vakostri et her Màiri August John Knox, Minister Echlis Frostenach. Okay, so there was strife between Mary and John Knox, who would, like the picture shows, I mean, he'd come in and lecture her and yell at her about how evil her Catholic beliefs were. But Grand Vor ech Knox na Catholicis. Knox hated the Catholics. Agus Gesonracha, for Gran Echa, he had a great hatred. Na doyen pekach ech Màiri. Na doyen pekach. He had a great hatred for doyen pekach, sinful ways. Doi would be a way. Doyen would be plural. Pekach, sinful. Ech Màiri. See, so Mary being brought up in the court of France, well, she liked to dance, she liked music, she likes all sorts of things that the Protestants, so just think, we had a couple movies, decades ago, a few decades ago, like Footloose, and then there's another one that has to do with very religious people who hate dancing. So sort of like that, right? Okay, so that's what John Knox was like. And actually, it's a belief system that carried through in Scotland for couple hundred years. And when the Protestants got up into the Highlands, they did their best to squelch Gaelic culture, because Gaelic culture liked music and dancing and singing and poetry and all that sort of stuff. And the Protestants thought that was all sinful. That was evil. Posicry Darnley, okay. Foci Heinrich Stewart, Mora Darnley. Morer is a word for Lord, and you see that it's related to the word more, great, okay. So he was Lord Darnley. Darnley Kuchich na Hakrika do Hrún Hasen. So he was also an heir to the English throne. Okay, so that was a political marriage. Okay. Va Posik Mihoker August Lon Chinnicky. Okay. It was unhappy and full of tension. Okay, and then Ruchik Seamus, who became Seamus Shia. So their son was born. Ach Kai Darnley of Bànrigh. Kai Darnley of Bànrigh. Here we have the passive voice using the root verb rach, to go, and he was murdered at Kirkafield, at a kirk called Kirkafield. Okay, he was killed by Darnley of Bànrigh. And Kai Lennon Bothwell, she had a lover by this time, August Va A. Fochasich. He was under suspicion, Fochasich, their son Murst Darnley, for the murder of Darnley. August Nuda Fos Màiri, Bothwell Galua. Mary married Bothwell quickly, and Vadonia people were aversach, suspicious. Probably not the best move. All right. Hundi Moran Ushlin Nahai. Hundi turned. Many nobles. Moran Ushlin Nahai. Okay. It's from Bothwell at Bànrigh on a Shomer Yapa Màiri. Okay, and Bothwell was murdered in her bedroom. Okay. A very dramatic scene, as you can see, pictured there. She was present when they burst in and murdered him. Chai Adlachach agus a horst gu Castle Loch Leven. She was captured and taken to Loch Leven Castle. Lik I Sheket Achrundo Amak Seamus, and she abdicated in favor of her son James. Okay, Lik I Sheket Achrun. Hik I Asachastio, so she fled from the castle. Le Kuchikach nan Luchtaika Echa, with the help of her supporters. Luchtaika. Luch is a word that means people, as in persons. Okay. She escaped the castle with the help of her supporters. Hokifek, so she raised an army, a force, Achili of Lar Longside, but lost the battle of Langside. Okay, she lost the battle. August Ajay Longside, Heki Gusasan. So she fled to England. Very dramatic life. As Giri Kaur vo Elisach Bànrigh Hassan, she sought help from Elizabeth, the Queen of England. Va Ekel Sassen mu Flottigen Kathlikich. England feared Catholic plots. Agus va Ekel Elisach Hain Gundagir Màiri Avina Bànrigh Sassen. And Elizabeth herself, va Ekel Elisach, the fear on Elizabeth. Gundagir Mary wanted Avina Bànrigh Sassen to be the Queen of England. Cur Elisach verherscht an prison e. Elizabeth put her under guard in prison. Va Màiri na prisonach mun noijig bliana. She was a prisoner for about 19 years. Nurva Màiri na bauna prisonach scrivi barstach voyek. When she was a prisoner, she wrote beautiful poetry. And here's one of the poems. One thought that is my torment and delight ebbs and flows bittersweet within my heart, and between doubt and hope rends me apart, while peace and all tranquility take flight. It is that grief and pain shall be my due, unless my weight should end both swift and well. I've seen a ship sail slackened by taut ropes on the high tide at the harbor bar, and on a clear day suddenly fill with cloud. Likewise, fear and distress fill all my hopes. Okay, but it wasn't all poetry that she was writing. Scrivi imich leisure gusaloric tyke or karstjen on an apa sassen on sun rank. So she wrote many letters seeking support from her friends in Scotland, England, and France, and chlechi code and Jever, and used secret codes. The plot of Babington era was discovered, uncovered, published. Okay, so the Babington plot, as it was called, was discovered. Hoka Kasik Ora, she was accused. Gundorani foil on Oi Elisach, that she was making treachery against Elizabeth. Kayakur Erkirst, she was put in the court. She was, tried, and it's a yichech, and found guilty. Kayakur Gabas on Okavla Yengeren, 1587. She was executed. Kur Gabas, okay. Chuniki Ihain Marvarter. She saw herself as a martyr. Cúnaí I hain mar bharta. Gélop, ye legacy. Mairachal, at last, Mairachal, va amach Seamus, in a chrúnicach mar Seamus, Shia Nahalapa. He was crowned James VI of Scotland. Hanake Guvi na Ri Sasan Kuchak. He also became the King of England. He was James the First, and so he's very often referred to as James the Sixth of Scotland, James the First of England. So this was before the crowns were united and the countries were united. Okay, so he was king of both countries. Amari a Marstian hast a Marstian. She lives on, yet lives out in Sgeulachd, Bartach is drama. Okay, so Mary lives on in our hearts in stories, poetry, and drama. Okay, so that's the story of Màiri, Bànrigh na Halapa. All right, Leva. Okay.
She was almost 6 feet tall.
Oh, really?
She was very tall.
Oh, very tall. Okay.
And then she was buried in the same cemetery that Catherine of Aragon was buried.
Oh,
Because
really?
when Catherine, that's married. However, when he became the king, he had her buried in Westminster Abbey next to her cousins. And
Oh,
he said she was not a Stuart, she was a Tudor, because her great grandmother was Margaret Tudor.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's why he revenged. She got avenged his cousins.
Yeah. Okay.
Because she go Westminster, she's there. Because her coffin's big because she's 6 feet.
Oh, really? Okay. 6 feet tall. Okay, which was, I mean,
A lot taller than Elizabeth.
Yeah, tall for our time.
Oh yeah,
but
back then
much
really
taller
tall
for her time. Because people in those days were like
Yeah.
6 inches shorter than we are. So she was well, she could have been a star basketball player.
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. Oh, Tleva. Okay. Well, I hope that was interesting. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at what else we've got. We've got a song. Share the screen. Okay. Okay. Òran Neshekana. And keeping with the with the theme of hanging, Griogal Cridhe by Lady MacGregor in 1570. Okay. And this song is both a lament and a lullaby. Very often sung, it's such a beautiful tune, it's very often sung as a lullaby, even though what it depicts is very sad. Right? Okay. All right. So here we have the lyrics. Mochmaten la lunestol. Mochmaten la
Lunestol.
Early in the morning, Lammas Day. Ach Muntanach mian law. But before midday. Muntanach before it came midday. V'mochria edachra. My heart was wounded. V'mochria edachra. This imich eicha luch is hierum. Okay, many's the night, both wet and dry. Chicha non chuck sheehan. Chicha non chuck sheehan. Weather the seven storms. Now I love this chuck sheehan, to express really stormy. It's not just stormy, it's really stormy. It's 7 stormies. Okay. Yevik Richo Golsa Krechen. Okay. Gregor would find me sheltering rock. So now she's reflecting back on her and Grigor. Okay, Grickle. Okay. Rishan Gav and Gian, that I might take my not defense, but shelter. Okay. Like shelter from the storm. Okay. So from the storm. So they'd be out walking. They'd be out walking, and yeah, in the countryside, and the storm would come on them, and he would find shelter for her, and they'd shelter themselves until the storm passed. So that's kind of the picture that she's painting there. Bounce of the Griogal Cridhe. Okay, it's dear to me to be with my dear Gregor. Right here translated as heart's own Gregor. Okay. Chearna cruelly glown. Okay. Chearna cruelly glown. Driving cattle down the glen. Okay. She'd rather be out herding cattle. Na le baron more na dalach. Okay, then with the great Baron of Dalach, then I'd rather be with my poor Gregor, my poor, monetarily poor. I mean, my then with the Baron, okay, Shittigale mu machown, okay, a white silk wound around my head. And so if you remember, it's the head garment, the scarf that signified a married woman. Okay, so she'd rather be with Gregor herding cattle than with the Baron, and be rich. Okay. And then we have the chorus, the vocables, oven, 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 irio, okay? And it's more momulit, movulit svor. Great is my sorrow, so great. It's more movulit, it's more. Yirk me, jan chomer vulich. Yirk me, jan chomer vulich. I climbed to the loft room. It's hidden me entire lar. I went down through the house, down to the ground floor. Hadur mi shel Griogal Cridhe, and I did not find my dear Gregor, Nahuya mun Clàr, sitting by the board, right here by the board, okay? Clàr, like at the table, at his place at the table. Chanya ul and eater akam, I have no apples at all. So here we're speaking metaphorically, like the apple of my eye. It says ul and ul ekach. Apples are with everyone. Everyone else has an apple. Okay. Sound ha mulen sa churius kanyal. Okay. Mine are sweet scented with cinnamon. It's cool and keen relar. And the back of my head is to the ground. I'm lying flat on the ground. Okay. Etovor the hlug on doen. Great treasure, okay, of all the people in the world. Horstiet dul anje. They spilled your blood yesterday. Horstiet dul anje. Is hurriet dochan stop darich. And they put your head on a oak stake. Taken beck for the cray. A little way from your earth, from your one. Yeah, I think that'd be better translated as from your land. Okay. Nudavis mnahen o gavala, when the young women of the town, noch nankato shave, lie down tonight in their gentle sleep. Sound this mish bruchtolicha. It is I who will be at the edge of your grave, at the edge of your headstone, licha, okay? Bulach mog alive, beating my two hands, okay? So, all right, a symbol of behavior of lamenting, all right, of mourning, all right. So that's the lullaby, the sweet lullaby for today. All right, so let's take a look at it. I've got a recording, and hopefully my YouTube link will work. I rebooted right before class, so we'll see if it works. Can you hear that?
I'm not hearing anything.
Oh, no, I paused it, but here.
Yes.
You can hear it? Okay, good. There we go. Okay. There we go. Okay. This more move a little more. Great is my sorrow. Okay. Griogal Cridhe. Or Griogal Cridhe. Okay. So anyway, so that's about, oh, wait, no, it's not all. Just a couple reminders. Oh, darn it. Where am I? Okay, I want to come down here. I want to show us a couple things. Oh yeah, okay. All right. Okay, down here, Obrigaki. Okay, so I've got a couple of things for us this week. So of course, do the homework. Okay, so, and I've got a couple of videos Gru is Uacher, number 1 and number 2. So those are the only ones that were made. Okay, so that's that. That's the film that the little excerpt was from about the Reichach. Okay, and that's about growing boyhood on the Isle of Harris in the 1930s. Okay, Gru is Uacher, and so it's posted on YouTube, and so and most of it's in Gaelic with English subtitles. Okay, and I think there's a little English as as is appropriate for whatever characters. Okay, so anyway, so I hope you enjoy it. Okay, all right.
Great.
So,
Thank you for posting that.
yeah. Shade of air. Okay. All right. Okay. All righty. Okay. So anyway, so I think that's it. Don't think I have anything else, but anyway, so wel kerst echt dunnes be? Anybody have any questions?
Mm-mm.
No? Okay. All right. We'll deliver. Okay. Well, Himishi van Ahechen. I'll see you all next week. Okay.
Cheery.
Cheery. Aikava.
Kitty.
Cheery.